Moving on, the situation in Sudan is going from bad to worse. Hopes from an Eid ceasefire have faded. Caught in the crossfire are 3,000 Indians. A high-level meeting was today chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, External Affairs Minister S Jaishankar, Air Force and Navy chiefs, all present in that meeting. The Prime Minister has told the team to be ready for evacuations. The External Affairs Ministry has affirmed that contingency plans are in place. But here's the thing most people don't realize, those especially who are doing politics, about what is going on in Sudan. The Khartoum Airport right now is a battlefield with no flights landing or taking off. External Affairs Minister S Jaishankar spoke to UN Chief Antonio Guterres. Pressure is currently being put on the Sudanese army and the rival paramilitary forces to agree to a ceasefire. Mr. Jaishankar said the government is in touch with stranded Indians. And one of them is a gentleman who spoke to us from Khartoum. We are not putting out his identity or location, but this is the SOS that he's sending out. Take a look.
कल पूरी रात कंटिन्यूस बॉम्बिंग हो रही थी, फायरिंग हो रहा था. सिचुएशन इज वेरी टेंस. लोगों को पानी नहीं मिल रहा है, पानी कट हो चुका है, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी नहीं है 5 दिन से 6 दिन से कई एरिया में, और खाना पीना जो है वो भी नहीं मिल रहा है, मार्केट सारी बंद है.
Okay, joining us on the broadcast is a journalist from Sudan. His name is Michael Atit. He's joining us from the Sudanese capital of Khartoum, which is right now the epicenter of the civil war that is raging on. And this war has been raging on, ladies and gentlemen, for the last 7 days. Michael, thank you very much. There was an Eid ceasefire that was declared by the RSF, which is the paramilitary force that is currently fighting the Sudanese army. Is that Eid ceasefire working on the ground or not?
Okay, thank you very much for your time and reaching out to me. The ceasefire is not holding at the moment as I speak, and because there are shelling and exchange of gunfire still going on within the downtown. And the focus of the battlefield for the past 5 days or more is, concentrated on around the Khartoum International Airport, the military headquarters, and the presidential palace. So the ceasefire has been announced. This is the 3rd time now they're announcing the ceasefire, but it has never held. And they have never kept their vows for, to hold the peace, the ceasefire among themselves. Both warring parties continue to attack one another, and which, led to a lot of fear among civilians, and majority of them are actually leaving the town, going to the nearby states and towns, trying to seek safety everywhere. By all means. So as I speak, the fighting is still continuing, and we could still hear shelling and other stuff, different types of weapons, including airstrike on one another.
Michael, what you're telling me is worrying. You're telling me that right now the international airport in Khartoum has become a battle zone, which means that no flights are either landing or taking off. Does it mean that any sort of evacuation plans will not be possible, whether it's for Japan or for India?
Yes, of course. The evacuation process, any evacuation at the moment, so far, it is not possible through the airport. Since the airport is one of the battlefields, and since the military headquarters, which is also one of the battlefield, it's adjacent to the airport, and it is a hotspot area for battlefield and for exchange of different types of guns. So any attempt for evacuation at the moment, it is not possible because there is no plane. The airport is not operational, and there is no plane can land now, unless one of the parties try to control the airport and safeguard the planes and secure the path for landing and takeoff for any other possible planes. The nearest airport to Khartoum is in Al Obeid, which is in the northern Kordofan state towards the west. But then it has also been one of the battlefield for between the military and the rapid support forces. Possibly this could also happen in the recent Merowe airport in the far north, which the military has taken control over it 2 days ago. But the problem again is how will how will people make it from Khartoum by the road to go and access the airport? Because the road itself also is not safe, because due to the roadblock and anything can happen along the road. So it is a very sort kind of a confused situation where a lot of foreign nationals working with the UN and in the diplomatic missions are stranded currently in Khartoum, calling for evacuation, but the situation on the ground does not allow that.
Michael, what's the condition as food supply is concerned, medical supply is concerned, water, electricity, hospitals? Given how many people are dying, given how many people have been injured in this civil war that has been raging on for the last 7 days, I know this is a humanitarian crisis that is playing out, but just how bad are things right now?
The health situation is a serious concern as I speak. Within the downtown where the fighting is taking place, most of the major hospitals which are equipped with an advanced equipment, medical equipment, are located within the downtown where the fighting is taking place. According to the Ministry of Health, Sudan Ministry of Health, about 70% of all the hospitals have closed. They have suspended operations due to heavy fighting. Some hospitals are damaged. Even some patients have to, run for their lives. They have been evacuated from the hospitals. And according to the report, nearly or more than 10 health workers, medical doctors have lost their life within these past 7 days. And there are concerns also of dead bodies within the buildings and along the street, which there is nobody to go and collect them for dignified burial. So the World Health Organization and other concerned entities are raising concern about the serious environmental health situation in Khartoum within the coming days if there is no ceasefire for those, for volunteers, for health workers to go and try to save the situation. So as I speak, in some major part of the town, there is no electricity, there is no running water for the past 7 days, and citizens are also finding it difficult to access other services, to get food and to get, essential services for themselves. So that is why this situation altogether forced thousands of families trying to leave Khartoum. And as they also live in Khartoum, there are reports of robbery and theft along the road as they are trying to make their way out of the city.
Michael, there are many people from different nations who live in Khartoum. There are 3,000 Indians, about 3,000 Indians there as well. There are Japanese who are the Japanese are trying to evacuate their citizens as well. I want to ask you if the government not the government in this case, there is no government there, but if the army has at least agreed to a corridor through which foreign citizens can leave for safer areas, and any word at all on Indian citizens who are stuck there?
What I know is the location of the Indian embassy in Khartoum is located few meters, not even a kilometer away from the Khartoum International Airport, and which is one of the battlefield. And I never come across any situation of how the Indian, nationals here in Khartoum or in the embassy are doing. It is similar situation for all the other nationals. They are stranded, and some even have been evacuated from the nearby place to the airport to any other location that is a little bit conducive, safe for them to stay. The situation on the ground here is not about an Indian or it is about an American or a British. It is about a human situation, a humanitarian situation for everybody. The situation is not sparing anyone from any sort kind of getting attacked or getting hit or getting, involved across the fire. So that is the situation here. And as I said, the Indians, yes,
Okay.
there are a big group of the Indian nationals who are present in Khartoum, and they're also stranded, like any other national here.
Michael, we are very, very grateful to you for joining us here on Mirror Now and giving us an update on what exactly is going on the ground. Sudan is a Muslim country, and unfortunately, the battle will continue to rage even though Eid has already arrived in Sudan. We'll leave it there for the moment. Thank you very much. The picture that you're painting is not a very hopeful or optimistic one. It looks like the fighting is not going to stop anytime soon. Michael, thank you very much for joining us. The Eid ceasefire, ladies and gentlemen, simply isn't holding in Sudan, which means that there will be fighting that will continue. It has already gone on for the last 7 days. Our worry is for 3,000 of our citizens who are stranded there. There are families here who are very worried as well. But this is not the time to play politics over Indians who are stuck in Sudan, because there is a real practical challenge to this. We've already heard from Michael, and Michael is an independent journalist who's telling us that airports have turned into battlefields. And the Indian embassy is located right next to the international airport in Khartoum, which is Sudan's capital, which means that any evacuation is not possible right now, because the last thing you want to do is to send a plane from India, Air Force or civilian, and land it in a war zone. It's a story we continue to track right here on Mirror Now. For the moment,